For millions of people around the world, the morning does not truly begin until the first cup of coffee is in hand. It is more than a beverage. It is a ritual one tied to comfort, alertness, and the psychological signal that the day has officially started. For decades, we have been taught to view coffee through a very narrow lens. A simple caffeine delivery system designed to wake us up and push fatigue aside. But that understanding is outdated, especially after the age of 50. As we grow older, our bodies respond differently to everything we consume. Digestion slows. Cellular repair becomes less efficient. Blood flow changes, and the brain becomes more sensitive to both inflammation and energy fluctuations. What worked at 30 often produces very different effects at 60. This is why nutrition, timing, and combinations matter far more as we age. What most people do not realize is that coffee is not just a stimulant. It is a chemically active solution rich in polyphenols, chlorogenic acids, and bioactive compounds that interact directly with our metabolism, blood vessels, liver enzymes, and nervous system. In other words, your morning coffee is already a powerful biological tool, one that is currently being underutilized. In medical and nutritional science, there is a principle known as the entourage effect. This concept refers to the phenomenon where individual compounds, when combined correctly, produce an effect far greater than they ever could alone. It is not about adding sugar, creamers, or artificial flavorings. It is about pairing naturally occurring compounds that work synergistically at the molecular level. Recent findings in geriatric nutrition and longevity research suggest that when specific natural agents are added to coffee, they can dramatically influence how the aging body handles inflammation, blood flow, insulin sensitivity, and even cellular repair. This is not about chasing a caffeine high or pushing stimulation. It is about reprogramming a daily habit into a targeted metabolic intervention, one that supports the physiological challenges we face after 50. I am Dr. Richard Coleman. For over 3 decades, I have worked in geriatric medicine, helping older adults preserve independence, clarity, and vitality as they age. My approach has always been grounded in clinical evidence, not trends. Today, my goal is to share practical strategies that can be applied immediately, strategies that do not require drastic lifestyle changes, expensive equipment, or unrealistic commitments. Before we move forward, I encourage you to engage. Leave a comment with your age and where you are watching from. I read these comments personally, and it is deeply encouraging to see people across the world taking an active role in their long-term health. If this is your first time here, consider liking this content and subscribing to be part of our growing community focused on healthy aging. Now, let us begin where aging quietly creates some of its earliest damage. The vascular system. One of the most consistent changes we see as people move into their 60s and 70s is a gradual loss of arterial flexibility. But at the best, it is cystophon. Circulation becomes less efficient. This is especially concerning for the brain, which depends on a constant, well-regulated supply of oxygen and nutrients. Reduced cerebral blood flow is strongly associated with memory decline, slower processing speed, and increased risk of vascular dementia. This brings us to the first powerful addition to your coffee: raw cacao powder. To be absolutely clear, this is not the sweetened cocoa mix found in grocery stores. Those products are highly processed, stripped of their beneficial compounds, and often loaded with sugar. We are talking about raw, unprocessed cacao, rich in naturally occurring flavonoids. Much of the medical interest in cacao originates from studies of the Kuna people, an indigenous population living off the coast of Panama. Despite advanced age, they show remarkably low rates of hypertension, stroke, and cognitive decline. When researchers investigated why, they found consistently high levels of nitric oxide in their bloodstreams, directly linked to their regular consumption of cacao-based beverages. Nitric oxide is one of the most important molecules for vascular health. It signals the smooth muscle lining your blood vessels to relax, allowing them to widen. This improves circulation, lowers blood pressure, and reduces strain on the heart. For the aging brain, improved blood flow means better oxygen delivery, enhanced nutrient transport, and more efficient removal of metabolic waste. When raw cacao is combined with coffee, something particularly beneficial happens. Cacao contains theobromine, a mild stimulant that works differently from caffeine. While caffeine acts quickly and can trigger spikes in cortisol and adrenaline, theobromine provides a gentler, longer-lasting effect. Together, they create a smoother energy curve, one that promotes alertness without the jitteriness or crash that can be problematic for older adults, especially those with blood pressure concerns. Beyond circulation, cacao is exceptionally rich in flavonoids, such as which has been shown to stimulate the production of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF, plays a crucial role in maintaining neuronal health, supporting learning, memory, and long-term cognitive resilience. Think of it as nourishment for your brain cells. Preparation matters. The antioxidants in raw cacao are sensitive to excessive heat. Pouring boiling liquid directly onto the powder can degrade its most valuable compounds. Ideally, allow your coffee to cool slightly below approximately 170 degrees Fahrenheit before stirring in about 1 tablespoon of raw organic cacao. Because it is minimally processed, it will not dissolve completely, so whisking or frothing helps. What you end up with is not just coffee, but a vascular supportive, antioxidant-rich beverage that begins working at the exact moment your body transitions from rest to activity. With blood flow addressed, we can now turn to another major challenge of aging: metabolic control. One of the most predictable biological shifts that occurs with aging is a gradual decline in insulin sensitivity. Cells become less responsive to insulin's signal, making it harder for glucose to move from the bloodstream into the tissues, where it is needed. The result is higher baseline blood sugar, increased fatigue after meals, and a greater risk of developing metabolic syndrome, or type 2 diabetes. This is where Ceylon cinnamon becomes a strategic addition to your coffee. Most people are familiar with cinnamon, but very few realize that there are multiple types. The common variety sold in supermarkets is Casa cinnamon, which contains high levels of coumarina compound that can place stress on the liver when consumed regularly. This is not ideal for older adults, particularly those taking medications. Ceylon cinnamon, often referred to as true cinnamon, comes from the inner bark of Cinnamon verum. It has a milder flavor and a dramatically safer biochemical profile. What makes Ceylon cinnamon so valuable is its ability to influence glucose metabolism at the cellular level. Certain compounds within it act as insulin mimetics, helping cells respond more effectively to insulin's signal. In practical terms, this means glucose is absorbed more efficiently, reducing blood sugar spikes and improving energy stability. When consumed with coffee, especially before or alongside breakfast, Ceylon cinnamon can slow gastric emptying, the rate at which food leaves the stomach. This blunts the rapid rise in blood sugar that typically follows a meal. For individuals who feel sluggish or foggy after eating, this alone can be transformative. There is also a powerful anti-inflammatory synergy between cinnamon polyphenols and coffee's natural acids. Chronic low-grade inflammation is a major driver of age-related disease, from joint degeneration to cognitive decline. Introducing a daily anti-inflammatory agent helps shift the body out of a constant state of repair deficit. The most effective method is to add roughly 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon directly to your coffee grounds before brewing. Heat helps extract the beneficial oils, while brewing prevents the gritty texture many people dislike. With metabolic stability addressed, we now turn to the organ that defines independence, memory, and quality of life, the brain. For much of the 20th century, medicine believed that the adult brain was fixed, that neurons could not regenerate, and that cognitive decline was inevitable. We now know this is incorrect. The brain retains the ability to reorganize and repair itself through a process called neuroplasticity. However, this process requires specific biochemical signals that decline with age. This brings us to lion's mane mushroom. Lion's mane is not a culinary garnish. It is a medicinal fungus containing two rare classes of compounds. These molecules are small enough to cross the blood-brain barrier, a protective filter that prevents most substances from entering the brain. Once inside, they stimulate the production of nerve growth factor NGF, a protein essential for maintaining neuronal integrity, repairing myelin sheaths, and forming new synaptic connections. As NGF levels decline, with age, memory recall slows, focus weakens, and mental clarity suffers. Clinical studies involving older adults with mild cognitive impairment have shown measurable improvements in cognitive performance with consistent lion's mane supplementation. This is not an instant effect. It is a slow structural repair process, or exactly the kind the aging brain requires. Source quality matters immensely. Lion's mane must be dual extracted, meaning it has been processed with both hot water and alcohol. This ensures that all beneficial compounds are bioavailable. Simply consuming powdered mushroom is ineffective due to indigestible chitin cell walls. When added to coffee, lion's mane provides a subtle, earthy flavor that actually reduces acidity. Typical dosages range from 1 to 2 grams daily, introduced gradually to allow digestive adaptation, with circulation supported, metabolism stabilized, and neural repair underway. We can now address cellular energy, itself the foundation of both physical and cognitive endurance. One of the most misunderstood supplements in modern health is creatine monohydrate, long associated with bodybuilding. Creatine is often dismissed by older adults. This is unfortunate because creatine plays a central role in energy metabolism for all cells, especially those with high energy demands, such as neurons and muscle fibers. Every action in your body relies on ATP, the cell's primary energy currency. As we age, our ability to regenerate ATP declines. This manifests as physical weakness, slower reaction times, and mental fatigue. Creatine acts as a rapid energy reserve, recycling spent ATP back into usable form. In the brain, this translates to improved working memory, sustained attention, and reduced cognitive fatigue. In muscles, it supports strength, balance, and fall prevention. Research consistently shows creatine to be safe for individuals with healthy kidneys. For older adults, a daily dose of 5 grams is sufficient. It dissolves best in warm liquid, making coffee an ideal vehicle. Creatine draws water into cells, improving intracellular hydration. This may cause slight weight gain initially, but it is functional water retention. Fatand enhances tissue resilience. Finally, we arrive at perhaps the most profound addition: glycine. Glycine is an amino acid involved in collagen synthesis, detoxification, and antioxidant production. Modern diets are severely deficient in glycine due to reduced consumption of connective tissue. Glycine is a precursor to glutathione, the body's master antioxidant. It also balances excessive methionine intake, a biochemical signal associated with accelerated aging. Neurologically, glycine acts as a calming neurotransmitter. When paired with coffee, it creates alertness without anxiety, a state of calm focus. It even supports nighttime sleep by regulating core body temperature hours later. Glycine is naturally sweet, dissolves instantly, and can replace sugar. A dose of 3 to 5 grams is effective. You do not need to implement everything at once. Choose one addition aligned with your primary concern. Start slowly. Observe how you feel. Healthy aging is not about extending years, it's about extending function. By transforming your morning coffee into a functional intervention, you are investing daily in your future clarity, strength, and independence. Thank you for spending this time with me. Share this with someone you care about. It is never too late to optimize health.